Good morning, afternoon, it's kind of afternoon. How's everybody doing? Certified High Performance Coach Trisha Turns. I'm in Chelsea today. It's pouring rain, but it's an amazing day nonetheless. Like when you get to sit down to have breakfast with your grandparents that are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow, and just like hearing some of their stories and stuff are just like amazing. So if you haven't reached out to your grandparents in a while, assuming that they still are on this planet, I think I would encourage it. Just it's such a good feeling, like talking to them and just being in their presence is pretty crazy. But I was working on something this morning and it made me think of just needing to get this out because I feel like you guys would resonate with this as well, is like the idea of perfection. People like to say, and I used to say it too, like I'm a perfectionist, but like perfection doesn't exist and it never does. There's no perfect in the world, right? There's a sense of perfection, there's a sense of optimal, right? Optimal versus perfection. And so when I'm writing up a proposal, or I'm writing a presentation, or I'm writing up a speech, or I'm writing up a homework that I'm going to give for my curriculum, and just the amount of time that I put on that extra that I don't really need to, hey Gregor, is ridiculous. So I encourage you to set a cap to it. So like what I do now, just as an idea for you, is to set a timer. And if it's not done to perfection at the end of that timer, it's as optimal and as perfect as it's gonna be, and you just gotta get that shit out, right? It's like, that's the psychological part. Hey Carlos. The psychological part that we talk about in high performance coaching, because we go through an entire couple of sessions of psychology and just your mindset around certain things, and this is something that always comes up with my clients. It is the idea of perfection, the idea that I need to work on this a little bit more, just a little bit more, and then it never gets out, and then deadlines pass and it's been weeks and you still have this thing on your plate and you're still perfecting it. So that's something that like my own coach has been on me in the past week about getting a particular thing out, because I had set a deadline for it months ago. And it's like, yep, today's the day. So I finally just got it out. It's done. I feel amazing. And whether it's perfect or not, or whether I spelt a word wrong or not, like it doesn't flipping matter. At the end of the day, it does not matter. Like I have way too many things to focus on right now and to move forward with that need my time more than that thing needs my time. Does that make sense? So as soon as you flip your mindset around just being optimal instead of perfect, I think that if that doesn't serve you, I'm sorry, but I hope that it does. Let me know in the comments like what you're working on that you tend to need to over perfectionize, if that's a word, and just share. I feel like it's something that other people resonate with a lot. Yeah, even like being in with my dad and eating dinner and watching the way that he cleans, and the way he definitely is like this OCD, this OCD cleaning thing, and he's always had it, and he's very particular about the way things are done, and when they're not done in a particular way and they're not done to perfection, it really agitates him. But that agitation sometimes is not necessary, right? Like we don't need that stress in our lives. Just let it go. That's something that I honor, and he can do that. He can do that too. He can flip it. Sometimes it's a bit much. But then on the other hand, my mom, having gone through some cancer in the recent years, now the household type things that she would have made certain were done to perfection, she's like, meh, it's good. I'll let it go, right? It's amazing how that shifts. And sometimes something like that has to happen for it to shift, but I think that's a positive of what comes out of that kind of stuff. It's like that immediate like reaction of, well, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things that that's perfect, right? I know that I work with a lot of artists, like Taryn on here right now. Hey, Meryl. I work with a lot of artists, and there's definitely, when people are working on artwork especially, and they're trying to get a painting done, or they're trying to redo something, or they're using their creative sense in business, which is a lot of times is putting together a proposal, because that's high performance at the end of the day. Like the way that you speak, the copy that you write, the messaging that you put out, the way that it sounds, like that is very artistic. And so there's a lot of, I look at art as something maybe a little bit different than some of you, but actual artists that are putting together and painting and drawing, when you think of actual artists, they also go through that process of you know, what is done and what is perfect. But for them, it's more of like a sense that it's done. It's not that it's perfect or not. Sometimes they have like an actual vision of exactly what it needs to look like. But I think within the journey and the process of creating that art, that changes. And I think that that's the same thing with us, as we put together, you know, proposals and presentations and speeches. And I remember putting together my Persuasion Mastery speech for the Strong Together Trainers Summit. We had like 6 plus 7 locations. We had our Elmwood Park location in there too for all the trainers. They were all in one spot, and we went through Persuasion Mastery and just like envisioning like what I wanted to happen in terms of them getting together into groups and the different things that they were going to share and what was going to give them the most impact to walk away from that being like, okay, I feel like I can persuade and influence people better, like 100%. I have tools now that I can go and implement, and that's what I wanted. But in putting that together at the beginning, it's hard to envision it, but actually put it on paper, because a lot of times things come out during your speech that are awesome that you never expected, that come out anyway, and people, you know, input things in a group setting where you're like, you'd want to take that and run with it because it's a really important point. So like, there's just, whether I put together perfect in my mind's eye of what it was going to be wouldn't have mattered anyway, because we got into the thing. Yes, I need to be prepared for it. That's part of high performance. But there's this limit. There's this like, are you pushing too much time on this, or are you just overthinking it and you need to shut it down, or are you not quite prepared enough and you need to do a little bit more? So I challenge you to think about that stuff this week. Let me know what you're working on below. Give me a thumbs up if this resonates with you. And yeah, have a great day. Happy rainy day. Happy Halloween. Woo!